here up top. Okay, you got the Jackie Youngs, the Kelsey Mitchells. That's the Louis Vuitton store. We're replacing Kelsey. We're not replacing it with another Louis V item. Okay, we're not going quite to the bottom.
Should Indiana pull the trigger here, game over. Their shot at a ring vanishes instantly. A treacherous fiscal myth is currently gripping every WNBA fan. Your average viewer stares at this fever lineup, begging for familiar faces regardless of the cost. They're vocal, frantically insisting management gifts. Kelsey Mitchell, a ruinous $1.4 million max deal. They see those hollow 20 points nightly and foolishly believe she's an unmatched statistical titan. To them, watching her leave in free agency feels like a total organizational death wish. However, you aren't some bystander swallowing whatever the media machine churns out. You're a top-tier strategist who dissects the real data. The brutal logic of cap space and executive power plays is exactly what you live for. In today's cutthroat hoops landscape, overpaying for wasted effort is a cardinal sin you'd never commit. Allocating 20% of your fresh budget to a ball-stopping isolation threat is pure insanity. Glad you're back with WNBA Pro. Forget the polished PR lies. We're hunting for the raw, ugly truths in the spreadsheets. Go ahead and bar the entrance. Kill your alerts and focus solely on my voice. We're about to pull off the most daring roster robbery this league has ever witnessed. I'm going to run the numbers and show you precisely how Indiana swaps Kelsey Mitchell out for something better. Time to launch. A multi-million-dollar asset flip live on air. We'll construct a lethal, perfectly synced squad around our primary star. Let's break down the harsh financial landscape governing the current market of free agents. That fresh labor deal just blew the ceiling off, pushing team caps to a wild $7 million. Legally, the top-tier max deal is cemented at exactly $1.4 million. Kelsey Mitchell is hitting the market, and she's hunting for every penny of that top-shelf cash. Should Indiana's front office sign that hefty check, the fallout will be a total organizational disaster. Consider our alternatives. We can assemble 2 or 3 high-value assets to fill the void she leaves behind. She wants $1.4 million. Mark my words regarding this specific fiscal alarm bell for Indiana. Let that grim business truth sink deep into your brain before we move forward. By doing this, you're essentially signing the death warrant for your wing defense. The cash just won't be there to keep essential defensive anchors like Lexi Hull on the floor. You'll be too broke to land a heavy-hitting locker room leader. Pass on Sophie Cunningham, and you're stuck with a top-heavy house of cards that'll fold during a 52-game grind. To forge a lasting empire of rings, you have to divorce your feelings from the ledger. Realize that 20 points a night doesn't require one overpriced superstar to replace. You swap that scoring punch for a lean, high-output collection of diverse, reliable talent. This is the art of building success through collective value, though the average viewer has no clue how to shop the bargain bins of free agency. Look at the elite names, Jackie Young, Kelsey Mitchell, they're basically the high-end boutique brands. We're moving on from Mitchell, but we aren't just buying another designer handbag to fill the slot. We aren't scraping the bottom of the barrel either. Grasp the sheer genius of this retail comparison. When a massive contract leaves, your gut reaction shouldn't be to blow that money on another whale. You don't just wander into the high-end shop and toss $1.4 million at Jackie Young. Giving a max deal to a declining vet just to stop the Twitter crying is a loser's move. At the same time, don't go scavenging for scraps among the rookies who can't even stay on the court. You have to hunt with precision in the sweet spot, scouring the undervalued middle class of the league's market. Time to inspect the shelf, beginning with the premium choices. We need a stone-cold look at elite two-way forces like Ariel Atkins or Gabby Williams. Atkins is a pure sniper from the outside and a battle-tested guard who knows how to win titles. Imagine a defensive wrecking ball named Gabby Williams, a global phenom who dismantles offenses with sheer versatility. We are talking about gold-standard roster pillars that instantly transform a team's defensive floor from basement to penthouse. Yet, do not expect them to take some charity-level pay cut just for the privilege of hooping in Indy. They will hunt down top-tier compensation on the open market like relentless corporate sharks. The cold, hard math says you will burn $750,000 just to land one. Splurging on this luxury tier secures a superstar, but it absolutely guts your ability to build out a deep roster. You could literally bankroll Ariel Atkins and a backup for the same price as one Kelsey Mitchell paycheck. That is a defensive revolution, sure, but it fails to fix the fatigue crisis sparked by the brutal new schedule. To truly milk the Caitlin Clark phenomenon for all it is worth, we must scout the high-value middle-class gems. Our mission is to poach specialists whose DNA is custom built to sprint alongside her lightning-fast fast break style. This brings us face to face with the crown jewel of the 2026 free agent class. Looking at the data, the price tag is probably slashed by half. Imagine snagging a Bridget Carleton for roughly $600,000. Incredible. You could realistically land her for $550,000 to $600,000. Just listen to the raw mathematical profit potential hiding in that projection. Let's break down how perfectly Carleton fits into the puzzle next to our franchise centerpiece. She is a brilliant, multi-talented defensive hawk who brings elite physical presence to the backcourt every single night. She just finished a season grinding on a tiny contract worth exactly $125,000. Carleton is a master at thriving in the background, while offensive superstars do the heavy lifting. Up in Minnesota, she expertly played her part while Collier and McBride dominated the spotlight. She does not need the ball constantly to warp the court and create space for everyone else. She is the absolute definition of a long-range sniper, built for the catch and shoot. As Caitlin Clark detonates the defense in transition, Bridget Carleton will be lurking on the wing, ready to strike. She will bury every open tray that the superstar's gravity creates, turning defensive double teams into a scoring feast. Plus, she offers high-tier defensive grit on the perimeter that Mitchell simply never brought to the table. Market data reveals we can lock down this top-tier talent for around $600,000. We gain a perfect chess piece while pocketing $800,000 in cap savings. But wait, our master plan for this roster robbery is far from over. We must pivot that newfound cash into building an unstoppable, high-speed fast break engine. We need to pump pure explosive energy into our rotation of perimeter guards. I am talking about a human race car that can leave the opposition in the dust. That leads us to a dangerous, high-octane talent currently stuck in the Los Angeles system. We must exploit the massive, hidden athletic ceiling of a player like Rae Burrell. She is a tall, incredibly fast wing player who was born to run the break. While her past stats are a bit messy, that is the secret sauce for our strategy because it keeps her price tag low. Her current market value is totally undervalued. She was suffocating in a chaotic Sparks lineup that lacked any real general at the point. If the Fever launch a bold, precision strike offer, Los Angeles might just surrender and let her go. Imagine pairing Burrell's jet engine speed with the greatest passing quarterback in basketball history. Her impact will skyrocket. She won't have to do it alone, just sprint hard and catch perfect full-court bombs. We can snatch this high-potential athlete for a tiny sliver of our remaining budget. We have successfully landed a lethal shooter and a lightning-fast transition specialist. Yet, the team bank account is still loaded. We still have the cash to hunt for a disruptive, high-flying rim protector. We need a bruising, mobile athlete who can hammer home dunks on the fast break. Look toward a young talent like Letitia Amihir. Or perhaps you want a seasoned veteran with proven production. You stop at nothing to drag Temi Fagbenle back into the Indiana fold. She's already mastered the breakneck pace of the Clark-led attack. Coming off the bench, she provides explosive energy and dominates the glass. You have the exact cap space needed to sign Amihir or Fagbenle to a total bargain contract. This is the specific moment where the brilliant, multi-million-dollar logic of this strategy becomes crystal clear. Imagine pairing Atkins with Carleton, or stacking Carleton, Rae Burrell, and Temi Fagbenle together. You get 3 elite weapons for the cost of 1 Kelsey Mitchell. This isn't just a suggestion. It is the vital maneuver that Indiana must execute immediately. Allow the sheer cold intensity of this financial power play to resonate within your mind. We are looking at the absolute peak of cutthroat business in modern professional basketball. This is the icy mathematical formula for a lasting dynasty. You flatly refuse to pay Mitchell $1.4 million for Hero Ball. You completely erase her bloated, wasteful salary from your books. Instead, you immediately pivot to secure Bridget Carleton, Rae Burrell, and Temi Fagbenle for that same price. 3 selfless, high-speed assets for the exact cost of a single, deeply flawed superstar. Rebuild your entire perimeter defense with one sharp, calculated move in the executive boardroom. Instantly stack your roster with the depth required to survive a brutal 52-game season. Kill off the selfish, isolation-heavy plays that are currently choking your primary scoring engine. Mathematically, this guarantees you the cash needed to keep Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham long-term. Surround your twin pillars, Clark and Boston, with 5 high-level, efficient role players who fit their window. This is how elite GMs truly dominate the free agency market. They don't flinch when the mainstream press screams for big, overpriced supermax deals. They refuse to step into the multi-million-dollar traps set by their rival executives. They ignore the dangerous lure of signing overvalued veterans like Azura Stevens or Kayla McBride. If Indiana's leadership goes on a luxury spending spree, they will trigger a massive financial meltdown. They'll just swap the Mitchell Supermax trap for a brand new, equally soul-crushing money pit. The Fever's front office has just one summer to prove they actually have the brains for high-level business. They must make a harsh, logical boardroom call to let a beloved fan favorite walk away without looking back. They must tune out the online noise and ruthlessly execute this 3-for-1 value swap. If they pull off this blueprint perfectly, the rest of the East is officially finished. Neither New York nor Connecticut will be able to match the overwhelming depth and speed of this roster. Clark will finally have the perfectly tuned, selfless supporting cast she needs to conquer the world. But if management folds under pressure from the fans, if they freak out and surrender to the market and hand Mitchell $1.4 million, they'll kill their title window before it even opens. They will be stuck with a brittle, exhausted squad that is destined to crumble in the postseason. It would be an unforgivable corporate failure to waste the peak years of a once-in-a-century talent. The multi-million-dollar clock is ticking loudly right now inside Indiana's executive offices. Those wealthy, aggressive new ownership groups in Portland and Toronto are watching every move. Your room for error is now microscopic. Welcome to the heartless, high-stakes meat grinder of the WNBA's new economic reality. Thanks for joining WNBA Pro. We ruthlessly tear apart the underlying truths of the global sports industry. We never trade in fake narratives or soft corporate spin on this particular channel. We only deal in the brutal, uncompromising reality of the hard numbers. For the most cutthroat and honest basketball analysis on the internet, you are in the right place. Smash that subscribe button right now to join the elite ranks of the truly informed. Smash that like button to force this corporate truth bomb right to the top of the feed. Head to the comments and drop your raw, cold-blooded breakdown of this high-level power play. Does the Fever front office have the steel to let Kelsey Mitchell vanish into free agency? Can they actually nail the complex Bridget Carleton and Ray Burrell salary cap maneuver? Imagine the absolute carnage Caitlin Clark will spark on the break with a roster of high IQ weapons. Drop your most calculated, data-driven forecasts below. Catch you at the next intense executive postmortem. Don't even blink because this front office uprising is just beginning, and those without a calculator will be tossed aside like yesterday's trash.